My name is Anderson Ayers. I started shooting in like 2015 in Denver, Colorado, and I traveled everywhere from there since then. And now it's 2020 and I'm shooting in Memphis, and in 2021 you'll probably see me shooting somewhere in the west side again. But yeah. Shoot, I think of a lot of things actually. I think of creativity, I think of difference. Things are a little bit more unique here, beyond just the stereotype of Memphis. You know, before I ever lived here, my first thought if I heard Memphis was shooting, you know, gangs, violence, all that stuff, because I used to come here as a kid. But now that I'm here as an adult and in a different scene, I guess I see it with different eyes. So if I hear Memphis now, I think of coming up. I also think of uniqueness, and you know, just it's more versatile than just gangs and violence. There's a lot more to it than just that. I'm not originally from here, but you know, now that I live here, I come from places like the Midwest or the West. Most of my life Midwest, so I'm surrounded by a community of white people, if to be exact. So when people see my work and people see the people that I work with, and the fact that most of them are now, they went from Caucasian people to mostly colored people, I get people asking me where I'm shooting at now, and I get people asking like who these people are. And in that sense, through my lens, I think I've been able to show people that my people have more to offer than just violence, and the fact that people will lock their doors around us. You know, people look at my work now and they ask, does that person do something? And I get to share that this person's a model, or this person makes clothes, or you know, this person works with somebody who does music videos, this person sells jewelry. And so through my lens, I think I've been able to share to people who are outside of this city that feels like a whole state in itself, that Memphis is more than what they wanted you to think it was maybe 10 years ago. It's now full of people who want better. It's full of people who want more, and they're doing it every day. You can walk up and down the street and you can ask somebody, what do you do? And they'll probably tell you they make clothes or jewelry, or they do photography or videography, or you know, they've done something with women empowerment. They've done something for the Black Lives Matter movement. Like, somebody's doing something always here. And to be honest, I feel like I see more of that than the violence side. So through my lens, I think I'm showing people that there's more out here than what you think, you know, especially from somebody who's not here, who wasn't from here. I get to show people that it's really not what it seems.
Well, today we are shooting at the Brooks Museum here in Overton Park, like the Midtown area of Memphis. And actually, to be honest, the credit of the location goes to my model. I'm really big on like ancient Greece, and so is she, and this is like the place for her. It has a lot of crazy stone statues, it has a lot of pillars, a lot of that like ancient Colosseum type stuff. And so with her mind and my lens, we're able to create some pretty cool stuff here. And yeah, today and most times lately, I've been shooting with a EOS 6D Mark II. I just recently started using this compared to my Rebel T7, and I'm also using a 50mm lens. And honestly, I started using 50mm lenses ever since my dear friend Shot by 50 showed me about them, and it's the only lens I use. It's actually the only lens I own. And I love the way they shoot. I love capturing more than just portrait photography, as some of my stuff is. I like to capture scenes, and with a 50mm I can really capture a person and the scene that they're in. Why should someone shoot with Anderson Ayers? Whew, that's a good question. I think shooting with me is a little bit more real. And not to say that other photographers don't shoot real, but I don't use Photoshop. I like to take a person as they are. And as I was telling actually my model right before we started this was, I'm really big on showing people who they are. Everybody has their public image. Everybody always has their own self, but when that person's alone, they're themselves. And so I like to capture who those people are outside of what they like to show the world. I like to show people who these people exactly are and the beauty that they can show without having to manipulate a face or a body or anything like that. So shooting with me, you're gonna get some fun times and a real experience.
Beyond that, there are some family of mine that live here. Something that I will miss when I do leave this city is feeling included. Again, you hear all the stereotypes about black cities or cities that are predominantly black, and you don't always get a good connotation, but I don't know, something about Memphis, I feel like it's one city that I've lived in, and I've lived in multiple, where I feel like this is, like, I feel relatable. Like, I feel like when I talk to my friends that are here compared to the ones I grew up with, you know, we may have like similar stories, like mom did this, mom, dad did that, but like you come down to where people are just like you and look just like you can actually be like, you remember that time my dad used to do this, and be like, oh, my dad used to do the same thing, and it's usually about ass whoopings, but it's just the fact that it's relatable. What you've been through, I've also been through. The same shoes that you walk in, I walked in. Whereas other places around the world and just outside of black communities, you don't get that same relatability no matter what race you come around, no matter who you love and who's actually on your team. There's nobody more relatable than people who lived in your shoes. So for me, the thing about Memphis that I like the most is that I feel included. People are more willing to work with you. I don't know. People here are more willing to try to leave this the societal norm of what they want to make Memphis. People don't want to do that, and it's cool that people are willing to, like, I want to work with you, I want to work with you, we should do this. Shoot, I'm here because somebody wanted to work. And I've never had this type of experience outside of Memphis, so yeah, leaving Memphis will be hard, because I'll lose that one thing of feeling related to, like, feeling one. Shoot, we can talk about the obvious. Like I mentioned before, easily, if you're not from this area or ever been to a black community, you're gonna instantly think violence or, you know, ignorance. And a lot of that stuff I'm speaking from experience because I did the same thing. Again, I've never been from the South. So being here, even today, people will make fun of my accent, but that proves that, you know, I'm not from here. So the things you hear outside of a black community is, yeah, you're instantly gonna hear the negative connotations of ignorance, screaming, yelling, gunshots, people dying, gang-related, drug-related stuff. But really, and what sucks is that's the only thing I can think of, yet it's like not true. If you have to hear about one bad thing about Memphis, that's like the only thing you can hear, that it drowns out everything else. I can't even think of another thing that I've ever heard is bad about Memphis. Maybe outside of like Memphis being a big city, yet it's segregated in so many little ones to separate itself from what they consider white community and black community, and it's all Memphis. but that's a whole nother story in itself. But beyond that, it sucks that that's the number one negative thing I think you'll hear if you ask anybody in these streets or in anybody that's outside of this town. You could ask the same question about Detroit. You could ask the same question about, Chicago, and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, if I have to say that there's a negative thing about Memphis, that would be it. But it's not that it's something that I believe in. It's just something that I used to maybe believe in, but being here, trying to change that perspective. Help. I've experienced a lot of help. I don't care what kind of negative things you hear and some of the negative things that may happen here. From a lot of other cities, you may have people who blow up and they make it big and they don't really care no more and they kind of move on. But it's like recently, anybody that's really making it in the Memphis area that are starting to like really come up, they're still tapping into the people they did work with, the people that haven't made it, the people that are just trying to make a name for themselves. A personal experience of mine was meeting Tay Keith for the first time. Not that that's anything to brag about, because we really just chatted with a bunch of us who were there, but he was so willing to like learn about some of us. We were at a Kodak kickback, and he was so willing to like chat with us and talk about how he wants to do things different in his city. And he's even starting to work with some of the people that have been producing here in Memphis. So that's just like one example. Whereas like Hit Kid works in this city, and he's starting to make it, but he's still working with the same people, if not new people, that are still in this city that maybe don't have a name, or maybe have a little bit of a name. But even then, if we want to talk about models, there's models who do that, there's photographers who do that, there's videographers that do that, there's people who do all types of things in this city, and they're willing to help their own city. Which I've noticed that there's not a lot of people who do that come out of their city. They'll leave the city and go to a bigger city and make all the money and splurge, whereas in Memphis, I've seen a lot of help come out of the city. They wanna make this city more than, and I think people are noticing that, they wanna make it more than what people wanna call it to be. People here, they wanna help. They wanna help their people get out of the situations they're in, and I can't blame them for that. I guess I never really thought about that because I'm not from here, so I never really thought that I would ever leave a legacy in a place that I wasn't going to be for very long. But for being here for as long as I have, I think I have left a little bit of inspiration and I guess a small legacy. And before I leave here, I think one thing I like to let people know when I work with them is that you can't expect everybody to be rocking with you. You can't expect to have everybody on your side. So you have to keep doing what you think is right, and you got to keep doing what you're doing, because nobody's gonna believe in you more than you believe in yourself, and nobody's gonna go hard for you like you can go hard for yourself. So the legacy that I'm trying to leave before I leave here is to show people that and no matter what you do, you have to keep doing it. You can't just quit because the outside world is trying to put you down, and maybe some of the people around you are trying to put you down, or maybe the city or the state or whatever it may be. Something or somebody's always going to be trying to put you down, so you might as well just keep doing it anyways, as long as it's good. But other than that, my legacy, I guess, would be the same. I would like to leave it anywhere, especially for the kids I'm about to have, is you got to keep pushing. You can't just stop. I am a Memphis shooter.